Today we are with Mr. Olawuyi Toba. Is a route to market expert, and what that means is that he's the one in charge of probably you have your product from the factory, you want to get it to millions of consumers. He's an expert in that. And in this episode, we'll be talking about the best way to find distributors to sell your products. What are the best channels for you to actually get your product to the hands of a lot of customers? What are some things you can do after you deliver your product to the distributor to make sure your product is differentiated from other competitors? Thank you very much for joining me today, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Tokwe, for having me.
From your own experience, I know you have a lot of experience, a lot of market experience, and I know this conversation is going to be an interesting one because myself personally, I actually am an enthusiast about the market. I study markets. Anytime I go into the market or any supermarket, I try to see which product is winning and which one is just coming up and which one has the potential to actually win the game. So from your own experience now, for businesses that want to get their products from their factory or from anywhere they get it from to the market, what's the best way you've seen businesses can use to get their product to the hand of as many consumers as possible?
Okay. The first thing we want to look at here is your route to market for any product or most products will determine on the shelf life of the product itself and the kind of product itself. So when you say product, I want to have a clarity. While we're talking of FMCG, I'll talk of lifestyle products because, yeah, those are the kind of things that will determine how you really penetrate. But overall, I think one of the things we imbibe in, I'm going to use where I play currently as a case study because, of course, people sell different products and services and they use different means and route to market. For FMCG, one of the fastest way we reach the target audience is just to have a distributor development system whereby we have key distributors. Those are the value chain partners that we translate the product to the wholesale, to the retail, and to the final consumer. So we normally scout for distributors with existing infrastructure that could accelerate how fast we want to penetrate a given market. Another way we complement these most times is we used to have a digital presence because, the technology these days is the way forward. We normally complement that with our physical route to market efforts. And basically, before we do all this, we need to go into intensive market research, even about the distributor themselves. Are they capable? We have some kind of checklist that we normally go to ensure that we have the right distributors on or partnering with us in this. Do they have the right infrastructure? Are they the kind of distributor that align with our objective as a business? Do they have the necessary throughput to actually accelerate this distribution? So I think relying on existing distributors in the current space you are playing or the current product you are trying to launch is the fastest way of getting to market. Then you complement that with the digital efforts, online presence, using media platforms, and all that digital marketing. It's going a long way. And even forming some level of local partnerships, to accelerate this product in those local domains. I think that's it for FMCG bits, but I don't know for that product.
Wow, that's interesting. Now let's assume you've discovered these distributors, you probably know where they are. So how do you actually approach them? Because is it on a one-on-one basis or you send, because some of us are very lazy, we just want to get the list and maybe do a broadcast of SMS or something. Is it that you just visit them at their store? How do you go about that?
Basically, we start with research, you understand, from the local territory we are planning to dive into. The research intent, we have a fleet of soldiers, sales team that we call them business development managers that will go to ask the necessary question. We have legal documents. We have a joint business plan document. And this joint business plan document is what will itemize the criteria of what we really need. It's not just about getting a distributor, it's getting the right distributors. So the first thing is you first identify potential. We call them potential because, okay, we see some level of, okay, we can do business. Then we take a deep dive by doing a physical meeting. So it's a layer of the BDM to the first meeting. If they pass the BDM phase, then some other executives, depending on how big the guy is, the distributor, you understand, then some other people will also come down to also give him that assurance that doing business with us It's not going to be a waste of time. It's going to be a mutual beneficial discussion. We tell him what we have to offer. He also expresses his own concern, and we make a decision sitting on what next. So it's both ways, but it's going to be a series of steps. You cannot just onboard a distributor overnight to go through a layer of process. But definitely, it's going to start from that particular location where we identify him. Our guys, then we start the checklist, then we go and close it up.
Okay, for anyone that has a product now, they might be thinking the market is oversaturated. There are a lot of products in the market, too many distributors. Are there still untapped opportunities for new entrants into the market?
Nigeria, for me, is an emerging space. And anywhere you have an emerging space, definitely there are opportunities. And that is why you see most businesses, even not for the microeconomic issues we have currently, you see most people want to come to Nigeria to set up, to invest, and to do business, because it's an emerging state, you understand? And emerging state means a lot of gray areas are there. That means opportunity that we have not even explored across different segments, in the country. If it's lifestyle, if it's FMCG, if it's even service rendering, is a business on its own. So it offers that great spot. So definitely, yeah. Even if you look at my business currently, across the northern region, we still have a lot of untapped places. We have places that we are not yet reaching. Looking at the demography and the geography of Nigeria, it's difficult to even reach some places currently because of the rural networks and all that. So imagine that some people from there are still starving on one or two products. Sometimes they have to take the pain of coming to the city center to do their shopping or do their business and go back. So imagine that we have this infrastructure already, the road is fine, everything is cool. A lot of opportunities abound in the hinterlands of this country we call Nigeria. And that is why I see most FMCG businesses always look at venturing into this country to expand and accelerate growth. And it's just there. It's just there. We cannot say we have harnessed all the goodies when it comes to opportunities in Nigeria, looking at the kind of products we play in FMCG space and even other kind of products, out there. So yeah, they are, especially in the hinterland, most especially in the hinterland. That's where you get the great spots.
What most companies will be thinking about is probably those local places. They might not be able to get the volume of sales they are expecting. What do you say to that?
The thing is that if you study research these days, demand generation is actually coming from the neighborhood and definitely from the hinterland. Who are the people that go to our open markets in the urban centers? It is the people in the hinterland that travel down to these places. If you look at the percentage of people that come to shop in the open market, they'll buy things in bulk and take it back to their retail shop in the village or in the hinterland. So imagine that you are serving them at that point. They don't need to really come. And let me tell you, in this business of ours, those little drops of water will complement your bottom line sales. So do not underestimate any retail partner or any channel out there. You need to do everything. You need to position yourself to actually tap into every outlet, no matter how big or small they are. But the only thing you just consider is the relevance. So imagine you having a drop size of maybe 5,000 naira sales in 100 outlets on a daily basis. 5,000 drop size is small to some people, yeah. But imagine you having 5,000 from 100 outlets. So this is the calculation. So do not just focus on where you have huge drop size of 50,000 naira sales, 100,000 naira sales, and thinking that those 5,000 naira sales are waste of time. In fact, most strategic ways now is smart companies win from those points now. That's where they even focus on. So they create products to suit those category of people, the SR people or the small retail pack sizes. Then they also focus on now you need to produce products based on the three segments, three classes of people we have in the country: the premium, the mid-range, and the low end. So you need to produce things in these categories to win the war at retail and to win the war generally when it comes to competition. So don't just focus on where you feel, I have the juicy sales, then you think these other smaller ones are waste of time. You keep doing that, before you know what's happening, you're out because of the weight those guys put when it comes to numbers.
Personally, I believe that any company that wants to survive, in fact, any company that wants to make any money should have a sort of distribution. And distribution can be the difference between a company making it and another one going bust. So for smaller businesses that don't have the capacity to employ sales rep everywhere in the country, what are some things they can do to also get distribution for their products?
Okay, for me on that, there are two options. It depends on how financially equipped that individual or smaller person is. The first and the best I would recommend for a smaller person is, if you look at what we have currently in our society these days, social media platforms are really doing a lot for people. You understand? All you need to just do is just have data. And how much is data? So definitely you have a smartphone, you invest in a smartphone, invest in data. I have people that they self-drive fish from their phone on Facebook, having contacts in different places in Nigeria, and they are selling well. All they need to do is just raise the order. But using that, you need to build the trust first by making sure that what you're offering is quality and it is what I paid for, I got. So you build more trust so people can come back to do business with you online, even without meeting you physically. So the first thing is to ensure you build that your reputation first before you can even talk about leveraging very well on the social media platform. But that's what would work for someone that doesn't have money. We have WhatsApp, people creating closed user groups and selling online without paying money for renting a shop space, reducing costs here and there, delivering these things, so sending money through their accounts without necessarily seeing each other, pay transfers, so that's just the best way you can go around it if you don't have money to actually work with partners and local distributors very well. And I think it's very key you go for 1 or 2 trainings on these things, because it's not just about having data and having a smartphone. You need to understand techniques of actually getting these things done in terms of SEO and those little things. See a lot of skit guys in the country, comedians making money from Facebook stuff and all that without really spending much. And I have business people also doing well, selling things online and smiling home with profit margins too. So, but for me, online business, the best thing you just pray for and look after for is just that trust from people you'll be working with. Once you have trust and your product is what you said it is, quality is not breached, then that way you have very good thing coming for you.
Let's go back to the offline distribution channel now. Now, let's assume I want to distribute my products, even locally within my own place. What are some things I should look for when trying to select distributors? Or should I just give everybody my product to say, okay, distribute this product for me? What are some things I should look at to maximize that relationship?
The first thing you need to understand before doing that is to ensure that the distributor in mind that you are targeting aligns with your product. You understand? Do they have the right demographic? Do they have the right customers that matches your own product? Are they capable actually of distributing this product? You need to assess the distributor experience too when it comes to what you are trying to tell him. You look at his financial stability too, because there are some people you call distributors. If you are not careful, you regret even doing business with them. You look at their warehousing, you look at their infrastructure generally to ensure they have the necessary storage process. Generally, it's just a bucket list of things you need to look at for. Look at the integrity of the person you're working with. Look at his experience when it comes to the product you want him to distribute for you. You also ask questions from other people working with him, so that you get some learnings if he is the right person for you before you can make that decision of, okay, let's partner. So the same way you will be making a checklist of if you are the right person, you also make your checklist if that distributor is the right person. Does he have the right experience? Does he have the right infrastructure? Does he have the right influence? Is he financially okay? Because you go and trade with somebody that is having issues with money and you give him goods or stuff, you don't get to see him the next day. So there are a lot of things you need to look at on the bucket list of things. You can't just go out there and just pick somebody just because he is called a distributor without doing due diligence check yourself. We all need to be careful when it comes to appointing.
Should a supplier be giving distributors credits, and when should you even introduce credits? Is it on the first supply, or you say, okay, let me study this person and know how the transaction is? When should we, or should we not even, should a supplier not even do credits? What will your advice?
This question is not a one cap fits all, especially in the kind of place we operate currently, the environment we operate in Nigeria. Cash is actually king. Cash is what drives everything. However, there are some times that you need to bend your rules actually to get some things done. And that's in the sense of trying to offer some credit facilities. However, it's not something you just do. Like I said, we only offer credit to people that are tested over time and trusted. Cannot do a business with you today because I'm desperate and now begin to expose myself in terms of risks. So the same way you're trying to go into business, you need to calculate potential risks so that you don't have a heart attack. These are the things that the mistake people make, and you see people having stroke. So you need to be very careful. You understand? Yes, credit helps, but you give it into the right person. And I don't think it's something you should just start diving into immediately. And even if you should do that, you should also look at the limits. Very key. The limit you also offer, okay, even if anything goes wrong with this amount, I will still be alive. You do those calculations in your head before you can start doing things like that. But generally credit is what even drives the business most times. You cannot actually rule it out, but you need to be very strategic about it, and you need to be careful about it as well.
In terms of quantity, is there any ideal quantity you should supply for that first order to a distributor? Is there any ideal quantity? Because you don't want your product to also sit down and it's tying down your money. Is there any ideal quantity you should supply for that first order?
You see, the mistake people make is thinking because you want your product to sell or move out, you now start pumping people stock on credit basis. You're not doing yourself good. You're doing yourself more harm. So yes, you should have a rule. You should have a rule of quantity. Just like the way you are trying to limit your credit exposure, you also limit the quantity of whatever you are going to be topping out there. And for me, like I said, FMCG space, businesses that do it very low shelf life of 1 year products, 2 year products. You need to really invest more in retail points. Not really, when you talk about credit, the people that really play more on credit or demand more credit is usually the wholesalers. For us, our distributors, most of them even pay on cash. It's the wholesale leg of the business that usually run on credits. And because of the way wholesale's way of working and it's the way they are structured. So what we normally do to prevent some of these things is we also try to do direct to retail kind of mode of business, whereby yes, you have more opportunity of selling in cash than focusing more on just the wholesale bit of the business. Because retail, customers walk into an open market. The customer walk into an open market and buy things on credit, they pay cash. So you focus more on the retail segment. And you see, for the retail, even if you do any form of credit, the amount there will be limited compared to when you are dealing with wholesale. So what we normally try to advise is that as we're focusing on wholesale leg of the business, we also try to entrench the retail leg of the business, especially in the neighborhood, because most times research has shown is that you have opportunity of selling more cash business in the neighborhood, and it is in the neighborhood channels that you can even do more of cash business, and you can even get some level of throughput from there. So basically, you should be careful actually when you are giving these things out. Don't be carried away with the fact that you're trying to accelerate your numbers and now start dumping stock. At the end of the day, if there's poor uptake, those stock will even get expired at their end, and that's even another problem. Is another big problem when goods get expired at the point of wholesale distribution because uptake was low. That's why we have demand planning, and that is one of the things that demand planners do to ensure that we don't be in the trap of producing too low or producing too more what the market actually needs per time.
Now, just for clarification, when you talk about selling to retail, do you mean all these street vendors, or what do you mean when you talk about selling to retail?
Retailers are usually in two channels. Basically, you see them either in the open market or in the neighborhood. So you see all these lock-up shops, all these tabletops that are usually in the neighborhood that sell to final consumers, is what I mean. You also have them in the normal open market system. They sell to the people that come and buy in bit, final consumers or shoppers, people that use the products. So those are the retailers I'm talking about. So most times we are trying to move away a bit from wholesalers so that we can sell at the right price. Because what I was trying to remember was that it's only in the neighborhood stores for us and FMCG. It's only in outlets in the neighborhood that we can even sell at a right price, recommended price. There's price war in the open markets because of market forces, and you can't control some of those. But when you are taking it to the retailers in the neighborhood, you have opportunity of selling more at a better profit margin, because you tell the mama or the person that the transport costs you even use in coming to the market to buy and go back. You understand? We're already solving that from you. So it's just like modern trade. Who goes to a ShopRite and start pricing bread or pricing tomato? That same guy that went to ShopRite to price, if he goes to open market, you see him pricing the same thing he bought in ShopRite. You'll be pricing it in the open market. And that's why it's very difficult to sell at the right price in the open market because of these factors and forces. But it goes to modern trade and it doesn't even argue, he buys it. So you have more price sanity in the retail space in the neighborhood. That's why you said winning from the retail, especially retail neighborhood, is the focus for people that want to play well in FMCG space because of these natural forces.
You were talking about expired goods the other time. So who actually takes care of the goods if it's expired? Is it the supplier or is it the distributor?
Everything depends on the agreement and the document that you guys signed before you started that contract. Though we need to show some level of empathy too as a business, even when such things happen. And that's why we have a trade marketing unit and every business to support the sellout of product once a distributor buys. That's a function of trade marketing, so that it doesn't get expired at their end. So because we as a business, we know that we will be dragged into this in one way or the other. Even if we sign that, if this thing expired, you're going to take the cost or the risk. But we are humans, we need to show that empathy even when it's happening. So that's why we normally plan programs ahead to ensure that some percentage is depleted out of that product, so that we limit the chances of products expiring at their end. So aside serving or selling to these distributors, we also plan trade programs, focusing on the wholesale and retail leg of the business to ensure sellout of these products. It's a way of supporting them from the back end.
As a supplier, I know you can fully control the narrative before you supply, during supplying, while you are supplying the product. But how do you actually control the narrative when the product actually gets to the market, like that is to the retailers, maybe shop or outlets? How do you control the narrative so that you can actually get your products in the hands of the customer? How do you control the narrative? Because the reason I asked this question is someone was telling me that in the supermarkets, because I usually notice people standing around wearing branded shirts from any FMCG company, and then they will guide you to their own products if you are moving towards the shelf or something like that. So what are some ways you control the narrative after you supply the product?
Talking about merchandisers, okay, so the thing is, that is why I said we also have some programs and trade marketing activities that we plan to support sellout. One of the trade marketing efforts is what you just mentioned, whereby we have dedicated merchandisers in some of those relevant shops or stores to promote awareness of that product and offtake. We invest in that as a backup plan for the distribution of our product, so that it doesn't just get stopped at the retail end, doesn't just get expired there. Though strategically we do that because of finance. We can't do such things all around in every outlet. So we also look at the strength or the purchase capacity of that area or that geography to invest in merchandisers and other BTL programs, below the line activities that's in that territory that DB is occupying, to show him that we are not just here to make him buy the product, we are here to support him to sell out. Because these are the things that make a partnership meaningful. We are here to protect you, we are here to protect our interests too. So we are working together simultaneously. Some companies will sell product to you perhaps, and the next thing is that they're waiting for month end for you to come and buy another one. It doesn't really work that way. You need to also show some trade marketing efforts, BTL approach to support that person, especially if that person has invested a whole lot of money on your product, because this is the same person you'll be looking out for to come back for a repeat purchase. So if that support is not there for sellout to happen, how would he come back for a repeat purchase? So we invest in people called merchandisers. We do trade marketing shows and activities to support them. So these are what we do actually to also control these things in trade after the person has bought the product.
Okay. Do you actually think pricing a product cheaper than the competition will actually make you sell more? Assuming you both have the same quality, does that really count? Pricing, right? Like reducing the price of your product?
Pricing a product can be a successful strategy, but it's not guaranteed to lead a win solely based on price. You can't win basically solely on price, especially if both products have same quality. So, but there are several things that comes to play when considering pricing as a strategy. Perceived value is one of the things you look at. Customers think maybe products with higher prices have better quality. That's what some people feel. If your product is priced lower than competition, some customers might also question the quality. I've seen a case whereby something is good, but maybe it's really priced. People think maybe it's fake, and people feel if something is priced at a high price, it's original. That there's this mentality in this space when it comes to pricing. Another thing that you should look at, the element of pricing, is your profit margin. When you price too low, it can lead to lower profit margin. And I believe every business is here to actually make profits to stand, because if you don't make profits, you go into extinction. So when you price too low at the same time, it can lead to lower profit margins. I think another thing that happens with that thing is competitive response. Some competitors may react to your pricing by reducing their own prices or launching aggressive marketing campaigns that can also lead to price war. So a lot of elements are there, but overall, reducing your prices is not really a guarantee to win. Profitability is key. If you're able to calculate well, even after reducing price, you still smile home to the bank, still be profitable. Why not? But we should also be very careful so that at the end of the day, profits are not eroded. Yes, reducing pricing is a strategy, but at what cost? And is it going to affect your profitability at the end of the day? And these are the questions we need to really ask ourselves before we can use price as a strategy to win. If we can reduce the price without touching quality and we can still win, then fine. But it depends on the vision of most companies and their mission also. Some companies do not compromise quality no matter what.
How can an FMCG company or a company actually differentiate its product from that of the competitors? Because when consumers will be comparing your products with other products, you will not be there. So you don't have a story to tell or something. What are some things you can actually add to your products to make it differentiate it from the competitors?
Differentiating your products from competitors without actually reducing the prices is essential actually for building a very unique selling proposition, USP, and maintaining healthy profit margins. So it's very important, and there are some things you start looking at as a company. You need to measure your quality and performance versus competitor. You need to focus on improving the quality and the performance of your product. If your product is consistently outperforming competitors, consumers will be willing to pay that premium amount, that price you are trying to keep once your quality and performance outweighs competitors, because there are some people that look at this thing critically. Then you need to be very innovative. Anything you can add on to your existing products that will make you look better, stay ahead of the consumer industry is also very, very good. Then you need to look at your packaging and your design. To be visually appealing. These are the things that makes you stand a bit away from the crowd and helps you build a very good brand identity. Because for your brand story, you need to have a very strong brand identity. Why is it that some old renowned products in Nigeria that started way back, they still sell today, even when things are not really? Because of that brand identity has been an heritage. So customer service is the key to all this. How you treat your customers is very key. It makes you one of the best way you can differentiate yourself, and that's why we invest in training our staffs out there how to attend to customer needs and all that, because customer service will really go a long way to differentiate your product. It is people could even refer to how they are being attended to when they're talking to other people about your product. I've seen people just switch just because of customer service. People look at quality, people look at performance, people look at a lot of things. But I think customer service beats it all. Because if you have a good quality, if you have a good innovative product, you have a good packaging sign, and the person selling that product has a very hopeful attitude, just mean that person is not picking that product. So customer service is one of the things we invest in.
As a salesperson on the field, you are on the field, probably you are a staff to a company, or you are the business owner yourself. What kind of mentality, what kind of motivation should you have when approaching distributors to list your products?
One of the mentalities you have is you have a winning mindset mentality. Because I believe people out there were hired to solve problems, and nobody wants to be seen as a failure. You have your KPIs, they are going to use to measure your performance. So as a staff, what will help you execute your KPIs flawlessly should be your mantra. Your mentality of doing and even exceeding beyond expectation is what should guide your mindset. And the principles of actually doing what you do well is what should be in your heart. At the end of the day, when we are doing our goal sheet, when we are scoring people, we look at your performance to actually judge you. Some of the things you do, we may not be there, but that result will always stand for you. If you are the type that really want to grow in your career, the ladder of leadership needs to be the forefront of what you think of. That should be your motivation. And you should be passionate about what you do, actually, because if you're not passionate about your profession or what you do, you're not going to succeed, no matter how well you try. So that passion, for me, is very key for everybody out there trying to do their bits on the job.
Wow, interesting. So what you say is that even though you're a staff or you are a business person, you should have a key performance indicator, like a metric to measure yourself to know, okay, am I progressing? Am I not progressing? So to have that and to also go after your goals. Thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate this particular session, because myself, I've actually learned a lot of things as regards getting your products from your hand to the hands of a lot of customers. Thank you very much, and I hope we'll see you next time again. All right, I'll be leaving the link to your contacts in the description of this video. Thank you again for joining us, and see you next time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too for having me. Thank you.
Bye-bye.